Perfect. Okay, welcome everybody to our AFK. What is AFK? How to prepare for it? The AFK Orientation 2025. And I'm Dr. Ahmed Hafez, founder, academic director at Scholars Dental. I'm happy that you're all here, and let's get started with the slides. So I have some slides we'll go through just to introduce the AFK. The goal of today is to teach you what AFK is, and what problems people could have with it, some tips on how to have the right mindset for it, and also how we could help with you passing it on your first attempt as well. So let's get here to understand what the AFK exam is. So let me bring out my tablet here. Perfect. All right, so you guys see my screen? Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so first, before we talk about the AFK, I want to make sure everybody here, we did already have our NDEB process meeting and discussion. That happened, I think last month it was, but that's also recorded. We have a few of them online. I recommend if you don't know how the process works, we are not talking about the entire process here. That's already been covered. So today we'll be focusing on the AFK, all right? So again, if you haven't watched it, recommend to go and learn about the entire process in that video that you'll find on our YouTube channel. So just a reminder about that in the process. So you have two pathways, the direct pathway and the university pathway, okay? When you do the direct pathway, your first exam after you get approved is the AFK, okay? So your first exam in the direct pathway is the AFK. Now, in the university pathway, where you have to register for your ADA approval in the US, do the ADAT exam, that's for the university pathway. However, AFK should be in everybody's plan, okay? The AFK should be in everybody's plan, meaning that if your main goal is the AFK, is the direct pathway, then you have to do the AFK. Okay, you don't have to do the university. I recommend you keep that open, but you don't have to. However, if your main goal is the university pathway, you should still be preparing for AFK and doing it. I'll tell you why. Because the university pathway, the candidates that get through are way less. You don't have that many seats, okay? Each university is different. But let's say like UFT maybe takes 22 a year. So the people getting through the NDEB process and the AFK, just more volume than the people getting through university. So if you're planning for university pathway and you want to do the ADAT, don't ignore the AFK. Don't ignore the direct process. You should still, get your NDEB approval and plan to do AFK. Our recommendation, of course, is it's best to plan for both, like do the AFK and the ADAT, and we have kind of an efficient plan for that. But it's best to kind of do both entry exams, both first exams, and then you don't know. Maybe you pass the AFK and then the ACJ and you find that way is working out. Maybe you struggle in the direct, and then you accepted to university, so that way works out. So it's good to start with both, to have that beginning, right? But don't ignore the AFK pathway, even if you're planning for university, okay? All right, so the direct pathway is the one that has the AFK as your first step. So what is the AFK exam? The AFK, the structure and timeline, we'll talk about that. The assessment of fundamental knowledge, as the name is, fundamental knowledge. It's a 200 questions, MCQs, 200 multiple choice questions. You're going to get 3 to 5 options, okay? You won't get usually any more than that. 3 to 5 options with one correct answer, okay? Unlike ACJ, we'll see. But in AFK, one correct answer. You have 100 questions to do in 2 hours. So the average is like 50 questions per hour, right? And you get a 30 to 60 minute break in between, and then you have to do the other 100 questions in the second booklet, or if you're doing it in the electronic format, it'll be on the computer. So what's the content of the AFK? Where are the questions coming from? Look, this isn't like, there's no secret trick that you could find on the websites. On the NDEB website, it's going to pretty much include all fields of dentistry. That's it. That's the problem, right? So all fields of dentistry, it will come from textbooks, like the popular textbooks. You might even find questions from Canadian specific articles or sources, like even universities sometimes, and articles in general. So you could see the amount of content is very vast, okay? It's very specific, and it's hard to go and pinpoint, well, what do I have to go? You will end up studying so much if you don't have guidance exactly where to go, right? So that's the content, okay? They could bring any question they want from this. Now, location, it happens in two formats. There's a prometric format, which means it's electronic on a computer, okay? Okay, so in prometric centers, and these happen in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So there are centers in those countries. So also in Australia, there are centers. In New Zealand, there are centers. And of course, in Canada, there are centers. Then you have the paper format, which is in Canada only. A common question here is when we're helping our students register for the exam, which one is better? It doesn't matter. The better is the one you could get closest to you. Okay, so prioritize the city, the location over the format. Okay, whatever you find in your city, because you don't want to be traveling on the day or the 2 days before and ruin your routine, right? So who cares about the format? Just do any format, but try to get the city that is easiest for you to access, right? That's how you want to go for your priority. Dates. The AFK happens twice a year in February and August. So this is a summary of the AFK exam. So the most important thing here is to understand the timeline and dates. Okay, so we said there's 2 AFKs a year. One happens in Feb, right? And one happens in August. So luckily, we do have the exam dates. So the NDEB has already published the exact exam dates for the upcoming AFKs. So the exam date for the Feb is February 2nd, 2026. And the exam date for the August is August 14, 2026. Okay. Yeah, February 2nd, right? So now there's 2 other dates for each exam. One is the registration opening date, and then one is the registration deadline date. Okay. Now, normally, the more important one in these kind of things is the deadline, right? But in this process, the more important one is the registration open date. Okay. Why? Because seats get booked within the first hour of the booking time opens. Okay. So you have to be ready to register. Okay. Obviously, you have to be approved. I have also a video of 5 tips to get you to register. One of them, for example, is making sure your credit card's preloaded. If there's not enough, if there's a max that's less than the amount you're supposed to pay. Making sure you have a good internet connection. Making sure that you already prioritize which cities you want, so you're not thinking. You kind of go. So there's a few things you could do to make sure you get in. Anyway, you want to be on your computer early. Okay, so for example, for the Feb exam, the registration opening date is September 16, 2025, 10 a.m. EST. And the August exam in 2026 will be on March. Okay, so let's talk about the closer one. So September 16 is the opening of the registration. You want to be on your computer, maybe even 1 hour before. Just be ready, and logged into your account so that you could get the seat right away. Okay, so that's the registration, and we also in the course so our course would have started already by then. So a lot of people going for the Feb exam they have to start preparing even before getting the seat. That's how it works. However, if they don't get a seat, we have options to transfer them to the next cycle and all that. So even though obviously your seat you cannot get before September 16 and the course starts at the end of August, you should still start preparing, register, study. Then if you get a seat, everything's great. If you don't, you transfer to the next cycle or you complete the course, up to you at that point. But just giving you that context, okay, of how things are usually work. Okay, now the registration deadline is also important because look, you might not get a seat in the registration opening day. Let's call it registration opening hour, right? Because it's 10 a.m. By 11 a.m. it will probably be all done, or 12 p.m., you know? But then a lot of people still do get lucky and get seats later on. Sometimes people withdraw and seats open. It happens. Always, like we always see someone in our course that didn't get a seat and got one later on. So that's where, guidance could help on what to do. And yeah, so keep that in mind. So both dates are important. Now, how much time do you want to prepare before the exam? So you want to put 6 to 9 months. I put here 5 just so that, we're kind of just rounding up, 5 to 9 months, but it's going to be around 6 to 9, 6 to 8, anywhere in there. That's your preparation time. Okay. And that depends on, really how much time you have. Okay, so we offer 2 preparation plans. Okay, one is the the essential course, which prepares you around 5 to 6 months, let's say, before the exam, maybe closer to 6 months. And for the Feb exam, our date is starting August 25. So today's August 2nd. That means in like 3 weeks, we'll be starting our course for the Feb exam, right? Just keep in mind, you need some time to get the books printed and shipped to you as well. So that one is coming up pretty close, okay? And the essential course from August to Feb, that's around 5 to 6 months. And for the August exam, our course will be starting in Feb. Okay. And we also have another course, which is for the longer preparation time, which is the mastery course. And this one for the Feb exam actually started in May. So it's already started. Okay. So May, June, July, August. So it's already started, that one for the Feb exam. It's around 8 to 9 months preparation. For the August exam, it starts in November. So I don't want you to get too caught up with memorizing all this dates. What you need to know for sure is, first of all, figure out which exam you're taking. Know when that date, the registration opening date is for that exam. And figure out first which course you need from us. Do you want to take the 6 months, the 9 months, and know when that date is, so that you're not missing the registration timeline, right? Okay. So these are important dates that you all need to know, okay, for the AFK in the next upcoming year. So courses start before, they could go 6 months, 9 months before the exam. So it's not like you're thinking about the exam and 2 months before the exam you want to go take a course. That's not how, you won't pass that way, okay? And let me just try to visualize this actually for you, because I like to make things visual. So let's put 2 points here to understand, how this timeline works. So here's the Feb AFK, Feb 2026 AFK exam, right? Here is the August. Okay. So you have the Feb and the AFK. So our course for the Feb will start, let's put courses in blue. So September 2025. So that's our course for the Feb AFK exam. And if you wanted the mastery course, it will start even in November earlier. Sorry, my bad. In May, already started. May 2025. Okay, so that's the mastery. And for the August exam, we could do the same thing. So March, around this time here, between Feb and March, like at the end of Feb, early March, That's when our course will start for the August, right? And our mastery, I'll just put it in a different color at this point so that's not too confusing. So if you put here November 2025, that's when our mastery for the August will start. Okay, so if you're going for the August exam, let's make all the August exam people in green. Okay, you either start in March 2026 or November. For the Feb exam, you've missed the mastery, you could still go for that, but if you're okay with the September essential, you could join the essential. Both have the same content. Okay, it's just a matter of time and the amount of live sessions. Okay, so and then right after, our course starts again for the next exam. So it's ongoing like that, but you want to capture it at the right time. Okay, now just to add here, for people that are planning for both ADAT and AFK, let's look at how that would look like. So for AFK and ADAT, if we add ADAT to the mix, so let's go back to our timeline. We have AFK Feb here, AFK August here. So there is a preference here. There is a better way to do it. It's not just random. Don't just say, hey, I'll do ADAT whenever. Okay. ADAT opens between March and August. That's when you could do ADAT. You can't do ADAT after August. You can't do ADAT between August and March. You could only do it between March and August. So I'm trying to make it visual to simplify it. So if you're doing the AFK exam in Feb or in August, right? That's going to influence, in our opinion, like how you should plan out your ADAT. So for example, the best and most efficient way for people that want to do the ADAT is to do the AFK Feb exam. Okay? So if you are taking our September 2025 AFK course, you're preparing for 6 months toward Feb. You finish your AFK in Feb. Now you could take the bridge course for ADAT, which is the best efficient way. It's a 2-month course for ADAT. And ADAT exam opens, then you could do the ADAT exam. This is the best, most efficient way. You know, total preparation for both exams is going to be around 8 months. You pay the minimum fees because you're not doing a total ADAT course. You're not repeating things you already took in the AFK. You're at your peak knowledge right after the AFK exam. Now you're ready to supplement yourself with the ADAT 2 months and then go for the ADAT exam. So it's going to give you the best chance to get the highest score in ADAT. However, if you plan to do the August exam, it's just not ideal with the ADAT, right? Unless, what's going to happen is, let's draw that scenario. So let's say you're taking the course in March or Feb and you're going for the August exam. Well, now you're preparing for the AFK. So you're missing that window when the ADAT is open, right? And it'll be very difficult to prepare for both. You just can't jam everything up in a few weeks, right? So you'll miss that ADAT cycle. When you finish the AFK in August, you don't have much time left to prepare for ADAT. So then you have to wait for a year after to do the ADAT. You could do that, but you might have forgotten some of your AFK concepts, right? So it's not like impossible. It's fine. You could go review it, then come and take the bridging course after, and it'll be fine. But the concept is, if you want to know the best strategy, it's you guys are going for the September right now. It will be great for you to do the ADAT, right? Everybody going for August, it's fine. You could do the ADAT after, but I'm just saying, if you are planning ADAT, then you might want to just take that into consideration, that this is the best time to take the AFK, the September course. Okay, so that would be the ADAT combo plan. Okay, so just summary here of the dates and timeline. Feb 2nd is the upcoming AFK exam. September 16 is when the registration opening date is, and August 25 is when our course starts. So you'll be taking the AFK course in August. You start that. 2 to 3 weeks later is the exam registration. So you would have taken the basic science and the pharma with us. Then you register. If you get the seat, great. Everything is going according to plan. If you don't get the seat, you could decide you want to finish or transfer to the next cycle. Okay, we'll be happy to help you. We'll have a conversation then. But the concept is, don't wait and do nothing until September 16 because you'll miss preparation time. Okay, and it will accumulate. All right. So for people not doing the exam in Feb, then just you still have time, and we could go over. The only urgent ones would be the mastery people that want to start in November. The people that would want to start in March 2026, you still have some time to, do consults. There'll be even another orientation before then. Just get your approval. Make sure you're prepped for it. Okay. So here's what we do for our some of our candidates that are booking consults. We try to plan out all the possible routes that they want to take. So we look at, okay, here's the direct pathway, here's the university pathway, here's the US pathway, and we highlight the ones they're interested in. So, if you don't want to do the university, the American pathway, the IMBDE, then we just gray it out. We highlight in green the ones they want, and we highlight where they are in the process of each one. And then we try to draw a timeline, okay, for their specific scenario. For example, this student here, we hid the name. They wanted to start their AFK course in March of 2025, right here. You can see the 2025 March. Okay, so we gave them this plan that they'll be taking the AFK in August 2025, which is coming up. However, they wanted also to do ADAT. So for them, we had to put a custom plan because they're not going into the ideal scenario we talked about, which is they do the AFK in Feb, then do ADAT. So we offered them to take the ADAT course in Feb here before their AFK, and then there'll be an overlap here. Now, I would say this is not ideal. Ideally, you want to do AFK, finish it, do the exam, then do ADAT. But this is the thing they had for their best. Speed sometimes is more important than trying to make it ideal. So they want to try to get through. So they're planning to do the ADAT and AFK in this time here, in that month. And once they finish, we plan their ACJ course. So they'll start their ACJ course and they'll begin their university applications in October. They'll get a free repeat for the ACJ and to go for it in May. So you can see here, we're planning their timeline, right, in the consult. And when the results come out, the NDECC, they could start it after that, right? So this would be their best case scenario. Here's another one, for example, that wanted the mastery course. So they started in November AFK. They started the AFK mastery course in November of 2024, right? And they'll be studying all the way until August and doing the exam in August right now. So they are in our course. And then right after that, we will start them with the ACJ course even before the results come out. And most likely they won't get a seat in November because it's just the way there wouldn't be enough seats before the results come out. So we already planned that they'll get a free repeat here and they'll get the May exam. And if they pass that one, here's an extended version. Then they could start their NDECC course, which at least needs 6 months. So they'll probably do their exam in 2027. When the results come out, it'll be maybe a few months. Then their OSCE here, their prep for a month. It doesn't need that much time. 2 to 3 months max. And OSCE, you'll pass OSCE. I'm not worried about that. And they could get licensed early 2028. So we kind of gave them almost like let's say an ideal timeline. Of course, any problem in any of the steps could push the timelines later, but we gave them an ideal scenario. This is your best case scenario if things go according to plan. Okay, so if you're interested in getting this, it does take time, it does take effort to do consults and plan your things out. So we're going to prioritize the international trained dentists that are aiming for the next exam. Of course, you're all please welcome to book a consultation. And anyone going for the Feb exam, we'll try to prioritize you just because time is of essence right now, especially with the new guidelines or the new policies that may come up from the NDEB in the next 2 years. So we want to try to prioritize the people going for the next exam, but also we'll do consult with the people going for the August exam as well, especially if you want the mastery course. So we're going to prioritize based on time sensitivity here, right? So being reasonable, trying to help the ones that need help first. And I'm pretty sure you're all understanding. So book the consult, then we'll get back to you to figure out your plan. Okay, so that is regarding the timeline. Okay. So now let's look at the AFK content. What does the NDEB say? Remember, I told you it's everything. So here's their blueprint. This is the old blueprint, and then they released a new one, like, a year ago or something. Honestly, this is not going to help you. This is the reality. Like, at the end of the day, these blueprints are just to cover themselves in a way. Like, okay, look, everything is here. So you can't say that we didn't tell you. So you can't say, oh, you didn't tell us we're going to bring this topic. Just everything is in here. Everything in dentistry. Evidence-based dentistry, infection control, ethics, special needs patients, geriatric, pediatric. They just mention everything, right? So these percentages, like 20% is about this stuff. But okay, is it basic science? But then they throw in caries in there. And then they throw in, biomaterials. So that's dental materials. So it's kind of confusing how things are classified here. And I want you to remember, it doesn't matter the topics themselves. Just keep in mind, all the topics are important, right? So that doesn't help. What you need to know is which concepts from each topic do you actually need. That's the key. That's the secret sauce, as we say, right? That's the secret sauce that only someone or only the people that have been doing this for a long time and experiencing it and going through it and monitoring it know what those things are, right? So it's very difficult on your own to figure out, to go and try to implement this and go and pass. It's almost like near impossible now. Because what does this mean? It's so many things, right? What matters is, what do I need from pathology actually? What questions are they bringing from prosto? What are they bringing from resto? And that's what we'll help you with. Telling you the specific things you want to study, not just the topics in general, right? So in our course, what we'll do, and when you want to start preparing, is we will print 4 textbooks that are Scholars Dental, our Foundations of Dentistry, and ship them to you. Free shipping, everything. You'll get those books, including around 12 question booklets that have thousands of questions, subject-wise. Okay? These 4 books include everything. I know sometimes you see, that AFK requires like 20 books. No, these 4 books include everything all the other 20 books have. The difference is we put it in a book style. That's why it looks compact. Some places could, sometimes you might see printing versions are in slide format, so they just look bigger. Don't worry about that. It's not about the amount of books. It's about what's inside, right? So these 4 books cover all the things you need in the AFK. Now, that's one piece of our puzzle. You get the books, and you could get the books early. So if you register now, you get them early, start reading, and which is something we recommend because we have seen improvement when people read the books before the course. Okay. The second thing is you'll have access to our platform. So we'll start the platform. This is how our platform looks like. So you could have here is where the media is showing, and then on the left you have all the activities. So you could have a document open, you could have guideline, you could have video. Well, it's mainly videos. So everything will open here, and you could see the modules on the left, right? I'll talk about what we have in the course right now. So here's one module. Like, I opened the basic science module here, just showing what's inside. You could see you have first activity is the study guide, and we have a study guide here showing you, okay, you have 30 hours of video content to do here. Here's a suggested guide. On Monday, do these. On Tuesday, so step by step. Suggested, you could go faster, but this is like the minimum you should do. Okay? Try to get these done. Everything it's very intuitive. It's very smooth, right? You open, you just click one button, go to the next, that's it. Everything is planned out, right? If there's even a live session is in there with the date. So it's very intuitive and smooth. You'll have a smooth experience in this, the way we designed the platform. Okay, all it needs is you to actually do it. That's just get the time and effort and discipline to sit down and do it. That's what you got to do. And the videos are here as well. You can see, and you even have a little discussion tablet. Now this is up to you guys if you want to use it, but each video you could put discuss it with someone else that's watching the video within the same course. Okay, So what are you going to get inside the course so that could help you pass? So first you're going to get, of course, the AFK books printed and shipped. As we said, you're going to get access to the Scholars Dental LMS, like I showed you the platform there, right? What's in that? That's where a lot of things are. So you're getting step-by-step guides on what to do every single week and day by day even. You're going to get high quality videos of all the subjects. They're chaptered and with subtitles. You're going to get the important articles. So even the articles that we think the NDEB has on their list, we are summarizing them. We're not telling you go read them on your own. Some people tell their students, oh, go read them on your own, right? Here's the articles. We summarize them in videos and explain it. We also have an innovative audio review. You probably are thinking, that's new. What is that? You'll see what it is, but it's an awesome way of reviewing pharma and patho. It's like a walk and learn technique. You could multitask. You could be walking. You could doing things around the house. You could be driving and listening to this audio. And we have like reviewing of pharmacology and patho. Right? We have over 5,000 questions solved and explained in the course. This is something you won't find anywhere else. No one, because you won't find anyone obsessed with AFK as much as I am. So I am so obsessed with AFK that no one else wants to sit down and record 5,000 questions. Okay, so I'm probably the one that would put that effort, but it's because I love doing it, and you want to learn from someone that's obsessed with this. That's what you want to learn from someone that's obsessed with this project. So. And it took years to get to the point where they're all recorded, right? Because, we do them in doses. So like, okay, we're going to do a few hundred this cycle, a few hundred next cycle, until we got them to the point where they're all there. All the questions explained and answered. No course has this. And we're still adding, like I'm finding more questions to add. So it's always going to get better and better. We have a random quiz generator that has unlimited attempts. So you could pick a subject like patho, generate a random quiz, and to get 25 questions to do a 30-minute quiz, and you could do that as many times as you want. We have weekly module quizzes, so after every module you have a quiz to test yourself. We have a midterm test that happens in the middle of the course to practice long-form questions. We have other resources, and even the books and questions are on the platform in a digital format. So that's the things that you'll see in our platform. Now, you also, of course, have weekly online live Q&A. So it's not just, hey, here's stuff, go read on your own. We don't believe in that. We believe you do need support, of course, because you're going to have questions, you're going to have doubts. So every week we have an online Q&A where we sit and discuss, what did you learn this week? What's your problems? Do you have any issues? Is there anything you don't like? Like, what are you not convinced with? Anything to clear your doubts, which will polish out your learning, right? So this is the most efficient way for you, because this way you're not wasting time on scheduling to be somewhere at, twice a week, 9 to 5 all the time. You could do it at your own pace during the week. Then you come with your problems on the live session. That's the key here, the efficiency and productivity. And this is where we get the best design course from. We believe we are the best designed AFK course, structure, comprehensive, and online. You'll have 4 mocks exam simulations at the end of the course that simulate real life exams. So there'll be proctoring, anti-cheating technology. You'll get statistics at the end to see where you're ranking among other students. And after the mock, you'll have a full day discussion, right? So it'll be a long day. I have one actually tomorrow. So with the cycle. But this is the only time where you need to schedule out. Right? You need to make sure you're available because it's Saturday, Sunday. So the last month of the course is our mock month. Those weekends, you have to be off. Make sure you're off. Okay? And whatever time zone difference you need to adjust, make sure you're taking that into consideration. So we've built the course to be the most efficient. But look, there are some places where you have to schedule yourself so that you're available. Right? We're asking minimum of you. Right? Just the weekly live, if you could come, it's 2 to 3 hours a week. Then in the last month, schedule yourself off on the weekends, right? And that'll be the best efficient way you could do it. Now, there's also, right after the mocks, we have a pre-exam evaluation test. We have an evaluation test after the mocks. This will give you what your chance of passing is. If you meet our IES standard, we'll tell you if you have a 90% chance of passing, or in the 80s, or if you have a low chance. And then that could help recommend or guide you on whether you need to withdraw or not. Okay? And our accuracy is pretty good so far. Okay? So it's a high accuracy. And in addition to that, we have support. So text group, now we're using WhatsApp. We might use something else later on, but now we're using that. Registration day help. When you're registering on the day, we're there to help you out, to give you tips. You get future discounts for ACJ. So just in general, this is what we have to help you in the AFK. This is what you have to do to pass. This is part of the stuff you have to solve this many questions. You have to learn these questions. You have to learn these articles. You have to review pharma so you're not messing up easy pharma questions in the exam. You have to do that to pass. We're not doing this for fun. We're doing it because we believe this is what you need to pass. But we want to do it in the best way that's efficient for you, right? So remember, you can get the books early. In addition to that, you'll go through some coaching and support. So studying tips and techniques, understanding the difference between receiving knowledge, studying it, and then reviewing it. So a tip here is, when you're receiving knowledge, you're kind of passive. That's like when you're sitting in a classroom or when you're watching one of our videos. You're just receiving the knowledge. Now that knowledge that you're receiving, let's assume, I don't know, let's just give it a unit, okay? Let's call it 5 concepts, okay? You receive 5 concepts. What you want to do next later on is studying. This is now where you're activating your mind. You're actually studying the concept on your own without anyone helping you, without anyone teaching you it. You're studying it. But what you want to do is you want to make sure you're studying those 5 concepts. Then you get to the review time. And when you're reviewing, you want to make sure you're reviewing those 5 concepts or less even. You might even eliminate 2 from them because you don't need to review them. So you review. So I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say here. You don't want to receive 5 concepts and then when you study, you go study 5 and you try to find another 5 that are new. That's inefficient. So now the 5 concepts is what we're teaching you in the course, for example. We're teaching you all the subjects. Those things you're taking to learn, during the studying phase, you're studying them. And then during the reviewing phase, you want to review them and less. But you don't want to keep... the more material you gather... Look, there's unlimited books. So the more concepts you gather, how much are you actually remember? So the point is this: when you want to go to the exam, you want to go with everything in your as much as you can in your memory, right on the surface, ready to recall it and answer the questions. And the way to do that is the repetition, receiving that knowledge, studying it, and reviewing it, but the same knowledge. That's why the key to actually passing is consistently focusing on one content. Don't mix yourself up. Don't go getting, I'm going to use that book and then this book and then that course material, then this course material. Now you're lost, right? Focus on one thing and keep repeating it. And that's where we see the most success. We'll have guidance. So, we'll tell you what to understand, what to memorize. Some things you don't need to understand too much. Just memorize it. We'll tell you the shortcut. You don't need to, some things you want to understand, right? We'll tell you how to study on your first and second and third read because there's differences. How to plan out your review and cross things out. There's accountability in our course. So every week you have a specific thing you have to accomplish. If you don't finish it, it'll get hidden for a while, and then later on you have to move on to the next week. So if you're worried about the online, that, hey, doc, I might be lazy, I don't know if I'm going to get myself to do the work. Well, there's accountability. Okay? This week, this is what you have to do. Basic science. If you don't do it, it's going to go away next week. And then you have to do pharma. So there's some sort of push there. But there's also times where they will open up later on and you'll be able to review them. We'll teach you how to manage your time in the exam. Okay? So you have the 40-50 rule. This never failed me so far, and the students love it every time. It's a mock method of how to exam strategy of how to do the 40-50 in time management. We'll help you stay motivated and confident as well. So not only we're educating, but we're also coaching, and this is required for the AFK. All right, so that's pretty much it for what we're providing there. Of course, there's more on technicalities we'll go through when you're registered. Here's some student feedback just to show you that, this person is saying the exam felt like one of our mocks. It felt like the evaluation test. Only like 5% maybe concepts were new in the exam based on what you're teaching in the course. So just something to show that, if I'm looking for something, I want to see some feedback, some reviews, right? And that's fair. So we want to make sure we're being transparent. So these are other ones here. This person said, I feel like you made the questions or something. So just showing you that like our mocks are working, right? Our course in general works. Okay. And again, go to our Google, reviews and read them on your own as well. You could see everybody there, what they say. So that, of course, you want to do your research. So before you register, you should see some reviews, right? Make sure you're going with a credible institute. Okay, so we launched a survey a while back. I'm not sure what year it was, but we asked 63 internationally trained dentists when they took an AFK, did they take a course or not, and how many of them passed or not. So the results were that people that didn't do a course, only 16% passed, and people that didn't do a course, only 16% passed. And people that took any course, I didn't put like what name in it, so doesn't matter, any course, right? Like just the question was, did you take a course? 50% of them passed. So what does that mean? Taking any course will 3x your chances of passing. More than 3x. Just take any course is better than nothing. And our passing rate at the same time was 83%. So that will even almost, I don't know, what do you want to say? Is it 5-6x from not taking a course? Okay. So I'm just saying taking any course is better and than not taking a course. So the concept is don't gamble with your first attempt. From this survey, we learned, what did the passers do? The majority of passers took a full course and they studied 6 to 12 months. That's the key. Okay, I'm not going to go into details and waste your time. That's the main thing. Do crash courses or mocks alone work? We also added that into the survey and we found poor results. So doing only crash courses and mocks don't work if they're the only thing you're doing. They're not good enough. Okay. So here's our IES evaluation test at the end of the course. When we give you the evaluation test, right, you could see here 90% of this category, let's call it category passed. We have a second category. I'm not going to tell you here how we categorize them because that's internal and might change, but it's based on evaluation tests and averages that we test you on. But basically, category B, 89% passed. Category C here, 84% passed, right? And you can see it could go down to 82%. Once you're in this category, we this is where we say, oh, maybe you don't want to, you want to withdraw. So when we see you drop below a certain average, then we'll transparently tell you like, hey, it's up to you, but you have a low chance of passing. Okay. And this was just from a few cycles ago, and even last cycle was at 100%. But this is the one that we have in the slide. It's just showing you this is how we do it. We have like the averages of these students. So everybody that's doing well in our course, most of them pass. Like all of them almost pass. One person didn't make it there, so it came out to 97% passing rate. Okay, so our IES is so far working out to be accurate. Okay. So some guidelines here for your AFK, some recommendations. Plan to register for the full course on your first attempt. For your first attempt, don't do this. Don't say, I'll try my first attempt without a course, then see what happens. Please don't do that. Because you're going to come back and then everybody's going to be stressed out more. a little bit more on your second attempt. I see it all the time when people come to us after they misuse their first and second attempt, and now they need help. Let's get the help. Get the help in your first attempt. Okay? Don't wait until you fail. And not only that, with this is the new NDEB update stuff that's coming out. You want to get things done ASAP. So they are saying they might implement this in May 2027, but who knows? They could change it and implement it whenever they want, but that's when they're saying. So what are the new guidelines? Just to kind of touch base on this. So first of all, once you're approved, you have to do the AFK within 3 years of your approval. Okay? So once you get approved, you have to finish the AFK or pass it within 3 years. Again, another reason, don't gamble with your first attempt and get yourself to that expiration. So basically, the NDEB is adding expiration dates now. It's not only attempts based on quantity, it's also now time. So you have 3 years to do the AFK after you get approved. Once you pass the AFK, you have 3 years to do the ACJ. Okay? And then after you pass the ACJ, you have 5 years to do the NDECC. I mean, look, to be fair, it's fair. It's still 11 years. Like, that's a lot, okay? You shouldn't be trying to spend... You don't want to intend to spend 11 years on this, right? So at least they're pushing. What they're doing is they're taking out those people that are kind of really laid back with it. You know, they register, don't do anything. Okay, well, the NDEB could prioritize the people that are serious if they have less people to work with, right? So it's fair. I think 3 years is a good amount of time. Here... even the application. So if any of you haven't applied, they're going to start requesting this. So maybe you want to get in. Try apply now to make it easier for yourself. Get things done. They're going to request that you have graduated within 5 years of your application. That's one request. So if you are trying to apply to the NDEB, you have to be a fresh graduate. If you're not a fresh graduate, that's fine. But you have to prove that you've worked in dentistry in the last 5 years. This is going to happen in May in 2027, they're saying. So if you are worried about this, get your application approved now. Start going into the process so that you this doesn't apply to you anymore. They can't say this to you, right? So another reason why to move things faster now. Okay. So what we need from you is make sure you're planning your preparation, right? Time-wise. Plan your time. Know how much time you have so that you could give to studying. And there's some mindset challenges we'll talk about as well. Okay. So that's the summary of kind of, of the AFK courses stuff. So the first thing you want to know, or you want to ask yourself to plan your time. We talked that we have 2 courses, right? We have the 9 months and the 6 months, mastery and essential. So you want to know, are you okay to study for 6 months or do you need more time? And this is you being realistic. Analyze your situation realistically. Now, I call it type 1 and type 2 just because, So type 1 is someone that could study full time. So ask yourself, can you study full time? Can you afford to do that? Okay. What does that mean? It means that you're not working or you're minimal working, maybe 1 or 2 days. You have no family responsibilities that are taking you away from studying a lot. And another thing is you might be a recent graduate, so you have, new concepts. You're probably still kind of used to studying. All these make you into type 1. I would say this person, if they have all these checked, a 6 months course is a good chance for them. Of course, there are things we can't, there are variables we don't know. Maybe they're slow learners. Maybe they're fast. We don't know. But 6 months should be a good place to start, which is the essential. So plan 6 months to do the course. Now, if you're on the opposite side, so you could only do part-time or less, you're a full-time worker because you have to afford to support yourself, right? You have family responsibilities as well. You graduated a long time ago, so you feel a little bit like it's tough to get back into it. All these mean, I would say, maybe the 9 months is more suitable for you in the mastery course. Okay? Now, this is two extremes, right? So there's someone maybe in the middle. That's where you could, a consult may help. You have to use your judgment, and you know yourself best at the end of the day. You know what your capabilities are. Another thing to understand is you don't have to pick this. If you're a type 2, you don't have to do the mastery. What you could do is 2 essentials. Okay? Or you could do 1 essential, study on your own, then come back for a repeat mock. Like, so there's different strategy. That's why we say book the consult, so that we could understand your situation. Okay? But generally, so if you're a type 2 and you missed the mastery, you could do the 6 months, study a little bit on your own after, then come back for mocks and review in the next cycle, right? So just an example there. So I have a question here, and this is interesting. I am a type 2. How many hours a day should I study? So hours a day. Let's go back to this. It depends on how fast you could study. So I don't like the concept of hours a day. Now I could tell you how many hours a day you need to finish the videos, right? So for example, if you have 20 hours of videos, okay, 20 hours of videos a week, and you split that over 5 days. So then you need 5 hours per day. 4 hours per day of video. But how much time do you actually need to watch a 4-hour video? It's not 4 hours. It's more than 4 hours, because you might be pausing, rewinding. So you might need actually 6 hours just to finish the videos, right? Now that's over 5 days. If you put it over 7 days, then you could maybe bring it down to 4 to 5 hours. Now that's how much you need to watch the videos. That's objective. How much do you need to study? I don't look at it that way. I don't say to myself, my strategies, I don't say to myself, I'm going to sit for 8 hours and study, because I could be doing nothing in 8 hours. Or I could be being very effective in 2. So what I would recommend is put a chapter system. I need to finish this chapter today. That's what I would do, right? So you divide your content, how we have it divided for you based on chapters. And you could say on day 1, right, I'm going to do, let me get up here the whiteboard. Is it here? Oh, not working. Okay. Oh, here it is. So let's say on day 1, you're like, well, this day, or let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to be like, I'm going to study here cholinergic drugs. And here I'm going to do adrenergic. Here I'm going to do CVS. And here I'm going to do CNS. Right? Like that. That's how you want to do it. This is how you want it. Now, how many hours do you need to do that? It's hard to tell. I would say, as I said, just to watch the videos you probably need, in the essential course, you're going to need 4 to 8 hours, depending on what you could do. If you could give 8 hours, that would be great. That's full time. But you probably need at least 4. Okay. If you're in the mastery, we could bring it down to 3 hours per day. But even 4 here is low. Maybe 5, I would say, at least to finish the videos. But in the mastery, it's more relaxed, right? You have double the time. So you could probably get away with 2 to 3 hours a day. Okay. So if we go back to this slide, just showing you one example from the basic science, right? Here, you can see, for example, Monday we're recommending, microbiology, physiology, and physiology. So that's these 3 videos, right? And they take, around 3 hours. However, basic science is given for 2 weeks. So that's 15 hours of videos per week. Anyway, you need at least 5 hours, I would say, but that's just watching videos, not including the studying. Okay. So let's go back to where we were. We were over here. Yes, over here. Okay, so type 1, type 2. Again, if you're a type 2, book a consult. If you're starting in August for the FEB exam, book a consult so we can get you set up with a timeline and a plan. Okay. Okay. Now, some things you want to do while you're studying for AFK is you need to be efficient with how you're using your effort. Okay. So a big mistake that people make. Okay. First of all, let me just say this. There's a lot of questions and concepts in dentistry. There's things that we're all agreeing on, and there's things that we all have, debates about. They're controversial. So it could be a question where two options seem right, and we don't know, like, it's controversial. You could find maybe one that proves this. And a lot of it comes from interpretation, like how we read the text, we interpret it differently. So there could be 3 to 5% things that are controversial. And there's going to be 95% of things, or even 98, where we all agree on. We all get that there's no debate here. Okay? Now, where's the problem? A lot of people spend 95% of their brain on the 5% controversial because it's interesting, and they put 5% of their effort on the 95%. This is the mistake. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Why does this happen on a psychological level? I think that, like, when you receive this information that we all agree on, you think it's easy. So you go like, oh, great. We know the doses for drugs. Great. We know them. They're there. They're on the table. Let me put them in my bag. I'll review. We know them. I'll get to them. But here, we don't know this. Let me see if I could solve it. Let me see if I could find the answer so I could put it in the bag too and then study it. So what ends up happening is you waste a lot of time on trying to figure this out. You come to the exam date and you're weak in doses for pharmacology. A question comes, you screw it up. That's a question that could fail you because everybody else knows it. Right? Don't worry about the things that people are debating about. Those things, as long as they're debatable or controversial, great. That means not everybody knows it. They're not sure about it. These things you want to master. It might be boring because everybody knows about it and it's not fun there's no debate. But you want to keep repeating these so that when you go to the exam, that 95% is right up in your mind. It's sharp. It's on the surface of your brain. You could remember it right away. These 5%, leave them. We'll tell you what to answer. We'll tell you how to. Don't get lost in rabbit holes of articles trying to figure out these things. Okay? So you want to use 95% of your time and resources on the 95%. Actually, just make it 100%. Let us do this stuff for you. Don't worry. Okay? We'll tell you what to do there. So focus on that majority. Everything else that's confusing you too much, where there's like debate, read it and move on. Okay? Another common mistake that people make in this exam, especially people that are experienced with the exam, that are traumatized, that go to the exam without training, they experience the exam, they come out and they mess up their second attempt because they steer themselves in the wrong direction. This is a very important concept. Okay, so here, I want you to look at this, okay? This circle I made is all the knowledge. So, for example, this piece of pie, this piece of pie here is all the knowledge that exists in implant dentistry, okay? This piece of pie here is all the knowledge that exists in pathology, okay? So, what you want to focus on, okay, as a general dentist going for these exams, is you need. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Because that's going to be confusing if I don't do it that way. Yep. Okay, perfect. So you need to learn this stuff. What does this stuff mean? Like, you want to learn a piece of each pie, right? You want to learn the basics, the fundamentals, the foundation of each field of dentistry, right? Because you and I know that you cannot become a know-it-all in all the subjects. That's impossible. You cannot. Okay? You're not going to become a specialist in each subject. You don't have the time to do that. And even if you do it once, you can't master it to the point where you can answer questions. Right? So the way to pass the exam is to know the basics. Where they're going to ask mostly from is to know this green circle, okay? However, this is where expectations matter. Questions in the exam are going to look like this. Okay? The questions in the exam are going to be this star shape. So the majority of the questions are going to be from the green circle. Right? However, they might bring a few very difficult radiology questions, very difficult, basic science, very difficult dental, very difficult anesthesia. They will do that, of course. Why? Well, they don't want you all getting 100%. Then the exam looks too easy. They got to bring some tough questions so that you don't get 100%. Or even though there isn't a percentage, but they just don't want it to be like an easy peasy exam, right? So what happens with people that go to the AFK and come out and experience this, what they do and fail, what happens to them is they go start chasing the radiology. They go like, oh my God, I failed because they asked this crazy radiology question. So I'm going to go read all the radiology books because I failed. And what really happened is they messed up an easy question in the circle. But they just don't know they messed it up. Usually the easy ones, we forget we messed them up. Okay? This is the thing. So don't go chasing hype. Someone comes out from the exam, oh my God, implants. Go read all the implant stuff because they're only asking implants. Everybody's going to give you the experience they had. What does that mean? The thing they found worst is they're going to tell you that's what came most. Don't trust people's experiences. They're subjective. Okay? And the thing is, because the next time the exam questions could look like this. So the same green stuff is going to come, but now the difficult ones could be from anatomy, from perio. So you can't chase those difficult questions. You learn them. We'll teach you the ones that came. We'll teach you those concepts because they might repeat. But you can't predict them. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't chase the high specialty questions, trying to predict them. Focus on mastering this green general dentistry circle. And then we will teach you some of the things that came from the high-end stuff, the very difficult stuff. But that's it. Don't go chasing them and getting lost. That's what the mistake people do, that are traumatized from the exam. And look, we know you're not going to be able, this is something I'm teaching you now as a coaching, but I know that you're not going to be able to implement this next day. So that's why in the course, we keep reminding you, no, remember this, remember your training, remember this thing, remember this concept, don't do that. And that's where you learn. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Some tips there on your mindset and classifying yourself type 1, type 2. A commonly asked question, just does the online course work? Is it as good as in class? We get this question sometimes. We are the first to start the online format truly. Especially we were beginning in 2019. Once COVID hit, we went full online and we're already prepared to do it. So honestly, it's better and superior than in class if it's done correctly. And we are doing it correctly in a way that we are only focused on this online. So I don't want to go through all of this stuff, but if you're concerned, the online is going to be more efficient, more productive for you in any way, in every way. Okay. Everything that you need is recorded. You're not going to miss anything. There's no way that you could miss class in an online format that we have. The design we have, you're not going to miss class, right? If you need a break, you're not going to miss 15 minutes of explanation because you need to go to use the washroom, like in an in-class, right? Everything is high quality recording, and I'm saying high quality. It's not Zoom recording. It's high quality, like broadcast, kind of like a software special mic recording, podcast, quality recording. So you're going to get all that. And also the Q&A sessions, the live interactions we have. Imagine you're in class and you want to ask a question, or you're doing a live. When you're interrupting in the middle of a 5-6 hour lecture, it's very hard to really be taken like your question seriously because there's pressure trying to finish on time. You don't have that with our design. All this important stuff that is recorded, you're doing, And the live session is dedicated for questions. So we're actually welcoming your questions. We're not bothered by them. Okay. So, and your questions are better because you finished the content, you came, now you brought good questions, right? Some people are more even comfortable in asking questions online. You're not going to feel isolated either because we have a group chat and we're always interacting actually on a daily basis. If you think about it, the live and the ones in class, you only see them once or twice a week. Here, we're kind of like live, we're talking every day about stuff. Okay, so that's where if you're scared of online, if you're still kind of stuck in the past with the in class format, you're thinking that's what you have to do, or the live only. The live only is even worse. Don't even do live only because technical issues always happen and stuff like that. So when it comes to online, the way we're designing it, the lectures, you could rewind, you could repeat, you could go on your own pace. You can't do that in an in-class or a live only. Efficiency and productivity, you're saving commute time, 2 hours every day. You could watch some of the videos twice. You can't do that with these ones. Well, you save commute in live online only, but and what I mean live only is the ones that say, we will have a class every, the lectures are giving live. They're not pre-recorded. So you want a mix. You want both. You want the pre-recorded plus a live online. Your questions will be better. There'll be social environment. Updates are faster. So everything there is fine-tuned. Now, one more thing here is I want to just comment here quickly. And again, we go deeper with our students. I don't want to, again, bore you guys with too much of this. But why do people fail? Okay. Now, is it knowledge? Sometimes it is knowledge. If you're taking a course, if you're taking our course, it's not the knowledge. It's probably your preparation of the knowledge. And the evaluation test will hopefully catch that. Right? So most people fail because they answer the average or easy question wrong. They don't fail because of the difficult questions. You have to know the common known concepts. You have to know those concepts and remember them. Okay? So if it's knowledge, then it's not knowledge of the course. It's more not like you haven't prepared enough, right? That's the concept. But what if you are prepared and you have the knowledge? What else could fail you? Well, there's a reason why people mess up the simple questions, right? If it's not knowledge, right? Hopefully you've used your time to study properly the course, right? It could be these things. I feel like courses and people don't talk about this enough. And a lot of times students think it's only about knowledge. It's only about the preparation. That's all. Like, yes, preparation matters, but one student in our mocks the other day, she was saying like, oh, I feel like I messed up these questions even though I knew it. I knew the question, but for some reason the exam I answered it wrong. Is that knowledge? No, you have the knowledge. So why do you answer it wrong? And then once we talked, she was saying that, I wasn't getting good sleep. So then we said, okay, so you have to sleep. Like, make sure you get good sleep. You're not going to learn everything in the last 2 hours. So just get your good sleep. You want to make sure you do the right things to make sure all the knowledge you gained is not lost in the exam because of these reasons, right? So fear and stress. If you're scared and freaking out of the exam, yes, you could go in, lose clarity, answer easy questions wrong, get things wrong. So there's things you could say to yourself, guys. You could say things to yourself that could ease the fear, right? It's perspective. We could help you with that a bit, So ways of how to imagine the exam is, imagine you're a scholar in the exam. Imagine that they're getting your opinion. Just think of it like that. Don't imagine someone's testing you. Imagine that they're getting your opinion. It will change the way you feel and improve your answers. Confidence is one. A lot of people screw up with confidence, right? Like, for example, it's okay during the course to be low confident so that you doubt things and you question and you study. Closer to the exam, you want to have high confidence. And that's something you manipulate in yourself. You kind of go like, okay, I'm going to be confident now. It's a choice. I'm going to be confident with my knowledge. I'm not going to let anything doubt me. I go into the exam. I'm going to assume all the questions are coming from concepts I know. Right? That's important. And we'll teach you more on that and how to do it. Also on how to do it in the mocks. Overthinking. Overthinking is a very common problem. A lot of people think they're the hero of this question. So it must be a weird answer, you know? And sometimes it's just a straightforward answer. So overthinking, that's something that we'll see like during the course when you're watching the questions, and you'll get trained in the course a lot. And expectations is a big one. This is something you get trained in the mocks. What's your expectation of the exam? When you go to the exam, what do you expect to see? All the easy questions? No, that's silly. You're going to see questions you have never seen before. So to get used to that, we do that in the mock so that you get used to it and you know how to handle it in the exam. Okay? And the comment we kind of came up with is kind of like, don't let those difficult questions, don't react to them, because they're there. There's going to be difficult questions. There's going to be new questions. Don't let them give you a reaction and then you mess up an easy question. Try to look at them, okay, sure, hard question. I know it's there on purpose. Let me move on to the question I can't solve. Okay. Again, you have to manage your stress and anxiety. These things are important for you to also perform well on. Remember, an exam is not just knowledge, it's a performance. You could have all the knowledge and go and have low performance. So it's also important, and we try to at least add this kind of stuff to the course as well. Okay. So everybody, that's it for the AFK orientation. You could book a consultation with us. And if you are approved by the NDEB and you're actually serious about the AFK, we also have a free Learn the Basics mission. We are teaching everybody basic science. So if you want that, you could apply to that as well. If you qualify, we'll give you access to the basic science module for free early. And if you qualify, we'll give you a free basic science book. Right? So that way you could taste and get a feeling of the course. This is only for serious candidates, right? Like that are actually approved and going through the process. But we'll do it for free. We'll ship it for free, everything. Just so you get the feel of it, right? So you could sign up for that. I don't know, Abbas, if you could send that over as well. In the chat group. Yep, thank you. All right, and there's a lot of resources on our YouTube channel if you want to go and watch some of the videos, tips, and there's a podcast episodes we have that we discuss actually things are sensitive sometimes, right? Like that people don't talk about. So that's pretty much it. So if you have more things you want to watch there, you can. And that's it for the orientation. Thank you, everybody. So I'm gonna now open the platform for any Q&A.